When you come to see me, I like to think of myself, and this may not be necessarily true, I'd like to think of myself as the Beyoncé of Broadway drag.
Oh, I love that.
It's very, I love Beyoncé. I love her high energy. She's always a perfectionist. Everything is to the T. Doesn't matter if you see her on a Sunday, if you see her on a Tuesday, she will give you an amazing, amazing show. And Broadway is where my heart is, where my soul is, and that's what got me into drag in the first place.
Welcome to another episode of the Skittle Squad Podcast. We're excited to have you here. My name is David Smith, and I'm with my co-host,
Paul Pfeiffer. How are you?
Yeah, here to talk about all things LGBTQ plus Tampa Bay, local events, hot topics, nonprofits maybe you haven't heard of before, organizations, and also doing probably one of our favorite things is talking to our guests.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I think our guests really, help to make the show for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a really exciting guest on with us later today in just a few minutes, Veronica Foxx. Now, we just saw Veronica.
We did. So, Red Mesa hosted a drag brunch that was a benefit for Epic Health, and it was a Britney Spears themed drag brunch, which was like super cool.
So much fun.
Because people actually came dressed as Britney Spears. Like, I feel like we didn't get the memo on that. Like,
we didn't. We
could have dressed up like Britney Spears in the schoolgirl outfit and all that stuff. But Veronica was one of the performers, and she absolutely killed it. Like,
the high energy.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of amazing performers there, but
definitely.
I am going to be a little bit biased, and I'm going to say she stole the show.
Okay. Maybe a little controversial considering, the other performers that were there.
Well, we loved them all. They were great. Yes.
I thought they all did a fantastic job. It was also Brianna Summers, Sadie T. Elise. Sadie lost her wig in the middle of her performance, but she kept on going and, it was fantastic. But Veronica, I mean, definitely high energy performer that you always want. If you get the opportunity to see her, like, do it for sure.
Yeah. And it was crazy. I think maybe we'll ask her how she was feeling during that performance, because I think she was like really under the weather during that performance, and you would never be able to tell.
Yeah, I had no clue.
Yeah, she was really great. So we're really excited to talk to her in a few minutes. But we do want to talk and dive into a little bit with hot topics.
Yep.
So we're getting a lot of buzz in the community.
We are getting a lot of buzz, and it's exciting. But what comes with that buzz is sometimes a little bit of hate. So I think, for me, what I want to reinforce is that the intent of our podcast is to bring our community together. It's not to bring, different events down or different organizations down. It's meant to be all inclusive and unify the community. So, I want to make that clear right off the bat. So we have always had this position. Anyone is welcome to be a guest on the show if they feel like they want to voice an opinion or answer questions or anything along those lines. We encourage anyone who's interested in being on the show to reach out to us at contact@skittlesquadpodcast.com or skittlesquad.com.
They would reach us at contact@skittlesquad.com.
Okay, yes. One of these days I'll get this right. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, Yeah,
I would really say, when you think about the mission statement for the podcast, it's really about just fostering that community, supporting. I'm really excited for a lot of our future guests and really highlighting what they're doing in the community. Really excited again to highlight and talk about what Veronica has been up to. But we've personally reached out to event planners, and our schedules are open. And so hopefully, if there's anyone that wants to come on to talk about any of the events, we more than welcome that. So a lot of people are excited, tuned in, and they are ready to watch and to listen. So it's very exciting.
Yeah. So just a reminder, our first episode airs on March 28th. And that will be with the incredible 𝐁𝐫𝐿G𝐿 of Project No Labels. So it was a very good first episode. And we've got a slate of great guests coming up.
Oh my goodness.
On the
I thought,
shows.
where are we? Like, we're going to need a red carpet, I think.
Right?
Yeah, we're going to need champagne in the green room and a red carpet. So, yeah.
Definitely some movers and shakers in the Tampa Bay LGBTQ plus community for sure, included in upcoming episodes. So, follow us, like us on social media, subscribe, make sure you watch the episodes. Support us any way you can.
Yeah, absolutely. We are here for you, and we are only here because you are watching. So yeah, definitely at the Skittle Squad Podcast. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of the social media. Yeah, that you can think of. We are definitely there. So
yep,
for
sure. So
Paul, I was on Facebook and I saw you took a trip recently.
So yes. So I mentioned this on the last episode that we went on a shopping trip, but we did go with a group of guys up to the mountains for a week. And we went to Blue Ridge, Georgia, which is absolutely gorgeous. The cabin was off the chain.
Wow.
Like you can see pictures of something, but you don't really get the true nature of it until you're actually there. This cabin was over 5,000 square feet. Like it was like ridiculous.
And how many were you? How many people were there?
There were 8 of us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So you definitely get a feel, like if you've never traveled with a group of friends before, you don't really know them until you actually travel with them. It's hilarious because you kind of get, when you spend 24/7 with someone for a whole week, it's like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that, this person talks all the time and you can't get a word in edgewise. Or I didn't know that this couple, likes to explore every single nuance of the area and takes forever to see things where, me, I have no patience at all. I'm like, okay, I saw it, let's go.
Can we talk about the game night picture on Facebook?
So that was a staged picture, actually.
Oh, okay. There's some controversy.
It was not an impromptu
staged
picture, but we did have a game night one night at the cabin, and the rules for this game were just so complicated, and it took so long to explain that at one point I was like, they took a picture of me like this, because I was so frustrated with, I like to know simple games, simple rules, easy to get started and jump into. And this one was just like overly complicated.
Yeah, I will say, getting to know you over the last year, you like to move fast.
I do move fast, for sure. My mind is always going 150 miles an hour. I am very much fast. Even in my professional life, my brand in my professional life is that I am quick to respond and I'm quick to provide answers back.
Awesome.
And I'm that way in my personal life as well. I'm very quick on the draw to respond. But one of the things that, I did not realize when we went to Blue Ridge is that apparently Sasquatch is like a big thing there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like there's Sasquatch everywhere. There's stickers, there's t-shirts, I don't know if it's because they've had sightings in Blue Ridge or why exactly there is such a big love for Sasquatch, but there actually is a Sasquatch museum there, and we actually went to it.
Oh, wow.
So, and it's not a big thing. It's like a little thing. And you walk through and you're looking at the different exhibits. And one of the exhibits, I swear to God, was poop from the Sasquatch.
No.
Yeah. And I was like, are they really like displaying this? And it was like gross. Like I was like, ew. I'm like, why would they, like, okay, I get that you want to prove the existence of a Sasquatch, but cast of footprints and, bones and stuff like that, use that, but don't display like actual waste of a Sasquatch.
So were there any sightings while you were there?
So no, I did not see a Sasquatch. Which was kind of disappointing, but it's kind of like, when I went to Ireland and we went to Loch Ness.
Okay.
During that trip, I kept trying to find the Loch Ness Monster and never did find it. So it was kind of like that. I was like, okay, I'm on a mission. I'm going to find a Sasquatch or I'm going to see a sighting. But no, it didn't happen. But overall, it was a great trip. I definitely would do it again with the same group of guys.
Awesome.
We all got along really well. There was no drama or anything like that, which is great. It's hard to find a group of guys where you can hang out and not have,
oh my
some
gosh,
sort of
that's absolutely
drama
amazing.
going on.
That's great.
So yeah, and the topic did come up about the podcast, obviously, because they were curious and they're excited to watch the episodes and see, how we're doing and so on and so forth. So yeah. And then after that, we got back and went to Diana Ross concert the very next night.
Oh my goodness.
Fucking incredible. Like, for someone who is, I think she'll be 81 in a couple of days. I mean, it was like,
I saw her at the Hollywood Bowl a couple of years ago, and she was unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, just amazing, flawless performance. Like, you were engaged from the very beginning when she first came out all the way to the end of the concert. It was just incredible. So I kind of ticked her off because of my diva list, because I've seen, now I've seen Tina Turner, I've seen Cher, I've seen Cyndi Lauper, I've seen Lady Gaga, and she was just another on my bucket list that I got to tick off to see.
That's amazing.
And we had like 9th row center seats.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we were like really close.
That is so great.
Yeah, it was incredible. But kind of changing the subject. So you recently had a birthday.
I did.
And you went to Wilton Manors, right?
I did go to Wilton Manors for my birthday.
Groundbreaking gays in Wilton Manor. I feel like Meryl Streep now in Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah,
like,
there are gays in Wilton Manors. I will confirm. There was a sighting.
So I've been trying to get information out of you to spill the tea on how that weekend went, your birthday weekend, and the craziness that happened. And you have been reluctant to open up and say anything.
Well, so first of all, it wasn't a milestone birthday.
Okay.
So last year I turned 50. I had a whole week celebration with family and friends. It was great. We did a cruise of the Caribbean. It was so much fun. Mm-hmm. This year was 51. So it was a little more low key. Went to Wilton Manor, spent some time with some friends, went to the beach, went to some bars, and potentially we went to an adult entertainment complex.
Ooh, like strippers?
There were strippers. Yeah, there were strippers. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But you know what they say about Vegas.
God. See, I am so much an open book that I would like spill all the deets for sure. I mean, but that's just me. So were they completely like all nude, or were they?
Well, it depended on what angle you were looking down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they were not completely nude though.
Okay.
No, they were not completely nude. They had clothes, you know, at some varying level depending. Yeah, but it was fun. I had a great time. Took me a couple of days to recover.
Did you go to the VIP space?
The VIP space? No. This time I did not go to the VIP space.
See, you're not living until you go to the VIP space.
$150 for 2 minutes. I will pass on that experience.
Well, I'll just tell you that, when I lived in Atlanta, and I think you and I have talked about this before, there was a male strip club called Swingin' Richards, where they were completely naked.
Yes,
like there was nothing left to the imagination.
Yeah.
And I may or may not have gone to the VIP room like several times when I lived in Atlanta.
Okay. Well, you just said you're an open book. Can you tell us what happened in the VIP room?
The VIP room is more like there's not as many limits. Like, you're in the general area and you're not allowed to touch. You're not allowed to. In the VIP section, you can touch. So it's a little bit more open.
So I broke a rule in the general section.
Oh. Tell me more.
Well, I was touching. I was enjoying the candy.
Okay. So,
All right. Yeah, Swingin' Richards. That was an establishment many of our folks in the audience will definitely remember.
I think it's a rite of passage whenever you're in Atlanta.
Absolutely. I drove through there for one night, and we literally got to the hotel, checked in, and went to Swingin' Richards.
I know. It's great.
It was
I miss
great.
that place. So,
Well,
okay, cool.
Yep, we are excited to bring on our guest today, and we'll be back in just a minute. Vintage Homes Realty is owned by broker Rick Pfeiffer. Rick, a member of the LGBTQ plus community, has been helping customers in the Tampa Bay area achieve their real estate goals for more than 20 years. He has a remarkable track record of nearly 500 transactions. Rick is a former chapter president of the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance and former director of both Greater Tampa Realtors and Florida Realtors. He has the knowledge and skills to achieve the results you want when buying and selling your home. You can reach Rick at www.vintagehomesrealty.com. Welcome back. We have our guest, Veronica Foxx, with us. Now, again, she is a Watermark Award winner, favorite drag queen.
Yes.
She is on the cover of Watermark, right there, center. Welcome, Veronica.
Hi, thank you for
so
having
excited
me.
to have you on board.
Thrilled to be here.
So
Yes.
tell everyone a little bit about maybe the Veronica Foxx experience. So you do a lot of different events. What are people going to see when they go to see you?
When you come to see me, I like to think of myself, and this may not be necessarily true, I'd like to think of myself as the Beyoncé of Broadway Drag.
Oh, I love
It's
that.
very, I love Beyonce. I love her high energy. She's always a perfectionist. Everything is to the T. It doesn't matter if you see her on a Sunday, if you see her on a Tuesday, she will give you an amazing, amazing show. And Broadway is where my heart is, where my soul is, and that's what got me into drag in the first place.
Oh, interesting.
It's
Okay.
theater, because this is all this is. It's wigs and makeup and telling a story. So it's kind of the same thing for me. And at any Veronica Foxx show, you can expect high energy dancing. You can expect some sort of flipping, some sort of
For sure.
perhaps tap dancing if it's a good day. And if it's an even better day, you get some live vocals too.
Nice. Yeah, I know you do sing live, which I missed. I was out and I missed you by 2 seconds. And when you came over, you were like, "Girl, did you see me?" I was like, "I missed it." I'm still so annoyed. But yeah, Paul and I recently saw you at the Brittany Drag Brunch. That was so much fun.
That was a rough day for me, but it was so much fun.
It was
so much fun.
fun.
You did such a great show, and then we came up to you afterwards and tell everyone what you told us.
So I actually had food poisoning. I ate some wonderful Chipotle the night before. Shameless plug for Chipotle, which I have not done in years. I ordered it on Uber Eats at approximately 10 p.m. Which was not a smart choice.
Right.
My waistline thanked me, but my body did not.
Oh no!
So I barely made it through that brunch. I scraped by, but it was, the show must go on.
Yeah, that was really a lot of fun. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I would have never known that you were sick. The energy that you had through that show was absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And how long did it go on for? It was probably,
It was long.
It was long.
It was a
And
long
we
show.
had 2 shows. We had an 11 a.m. show.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And then
that's
we had
right.
a 1 p.m. show, which I think you guys came to
Yeah,
the 1
we
p.m.
went to the 1
later.
And I
p.m.
text Brianna at like 8 in the morning. I was like, hey, just a heads up, I'm not going to be my normal self. I'm not feeling the best. And she calls me instantly. Because anybody who knows me knows if I say something like that there's an issue. Something is wrong.
Right,
And she's like,
right.
are you not coming? Are you not going to make it? I was like, no, I'll be there. I may need a second to adjust, And I told her I had food poisoning, and she was so wonderful. She let me take a nap between shows, and I was just, but the world I come from in theater is you don't always have an understudy, but you always have to go on. So
Right.
Oh my God.
and that's what you do.
I
And
love that.
The energy in the room from you guys and from everyone else there was out of control.
Was so high energy in there, and the people coming in dressed like Britney Spears.
The best part.
was like, oh my God, like there were some legit,
And
serious
yes.
people.
There was a woman who had the whole Britney Spears, the red latex bodysuit.
Yes.
with
Oh my
the
God, that was
spa.
amazing.
Yes, it was amazing.
I was like, I don't know if you're one of us or if you're a guest. I'm not sure.
yeah, it was amazing. It was just so much fun, and we were at a table. We ended up at a table. It was just the 3 of us.
Mm-hmm.
It was me, David, and my husband Rick, and then we were in a table with a bunch of women.
Right.
But they were so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just a great high energy event, and I love it when you can get allies involved.
Yes.
In those
A lot
types
of allies
events.
were
Yeah, there
there.
were a lot of allies
Yes.
there.
Which I loved.
And I think that's fantastic, particularly around this, the political climate that we find ourselves in right now. We need all
agree.
the allies we can get.
Yes.
So the fact that there were a lot of allies at that particular event, I think was fantastic. And kudos to all of you in being able to bring that type of audience in.
I was just happy to be a part of it, and I expected a typical brunch setting. But for those types of brunches, it's always a little bit special, the audience. I like to think of it as like I have a brunch at the Hard Rock as well. And it's sort of the same audience. It's not the typical gays who are at Show Bar or at, Salty Nun or like the typical gays that buy tickets the day of. These are the people who are like straight people who love drag, who buy their tickets a month in advance. They have their costumes. They have this ready.
Yeah.
And so you don't expect that. And they're like, we're here to support you. We're here to love on you. And after that show, specifically that 1 o'clock show, a lot of people came up to myself and another entertainer and were just kind of pouring love into us.
Oh, that's amazing.
Telling us like how, we come from this red state or this red area, but we're not that. Right. Like everyone aren't those type of people. And it made us so emotional to know that there are people standing with us, Yeah,
absolutely. It was so funny because like Paul mentioned, it was a bunch of straight women at our table. And initially I was like, bridal party. I was just talking to them like, hey, what are you guys here for?
Right.
They were celebrating life.
Yeah.
They were getting away from the kids and the husbands, and they were just having a great time. But it was funny because they didn't know how to quite tip.
Right.
They were a little bit afraid. They were kind of holding the money like here, and then they're like, no.
We had to teach them because I'm like, woo, woo, woo.
You wave it, yes.
And I feel like, and I don't know your experience, maybe you could share it with us, is like Venmo and Zelle are so popular now. People aren't carrying cash like they used to. Are you seeing like people struggling to like tip in cash now, or do you take Venmo or Zelle at your events? Or
we do. First of all, a drag queen will always say yes to money any way we can get it. Any way we can get it, we will say yes. Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, PayPal, whatever you have, we will have as well. There is sometimes a decline in physical cash, but those people who don't often have cash, a lot of the venues will ask us for our QR codes, and they'll put it on the screen as we're performing, so we can get tips virtually as well, which is really nice, for us just to have it right in your bank account.
Part of the experience I feel of going to a show is, really tipping the performer. And so I don't know, maybe if somebody does a virtual donation or whatnot, they can get like a papered and kind of like give it to you. You know what I mean? So they can still have that experience.
And for us, that's part of the fun too, at least for myself, is seeing that cash. It lets me know that I'm doing a good job for you, that you appreciate what I'm doing. So you want to tip me, which makes me in turn want to work harder.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like, we thrive off of the energy of the performer. We thrive off your energy, and then you thrive off of ours. And so it's like you either have amazing energy, or maybe it's a little flat, but hopefully not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, that's exciting. So,
what do you want to talk about now?
All right. Well, why don't we go ahead, and I was going to ask you, with all of your performances, any crazy or funny experiences? I know I've seen some crazy things happen when the energy's not there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, performers really like trying to wake people up. Like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still dancing.
Literally.
Yeah.
I've done almost everything. I've gone to people that I've had full conversations or been on their phone as I'm performing, sat next to them at whatever venue I'm at, and just stopped lip syncing completely. And until they notice that I'm sitting next to them. Then I'm like, hi, I'm here. What's going on?
Wow, I love that tactic.
And I've gone to people who are not paying attention, sat next to them, done the same thing, and just stuck my hand out and waited for them to pull out their wallet and give me money. And I'll just sit there. I'll take another one.
Hello?
This is for the inconvenience,
Yeah.
Crazy stories. I've fallen on stage plenty of times, like if there are spilled drinks and the security doesn't often have time to get to it. I've fallen cartwheel, mid round off, mid split, and it's not pretty. I've had my wig fall several times. I've even had music stop on me before.
Oh, that's interesting.
At a big Pride gig last year, I was doing Last Dance by Donna Summer, the live version, which is my favorite, because I'm gay. And 30 seconds in, I'm looking, I feel so stunning. I'm just standing there, and there's a big crowd. And I'm starting the song, and the song cuts out. And I'm like, well, I do sing. So I started singing live, and the audience lost their mind. And 30 seconds into me singing live, the track picked right back up, started over, and I started right back at the top of the song, and nothing had happened.
Oh, that's great.
That's amazing.
And that was honestly what propelled me to start singing live again. I was like, you know what? I was like, it's in me. I have it. I know I can do this. It's what I've done my entire life. Let's just try and, do it.
Now, you do some amazing flips and things like that. Do you practice at home?
I don't practice. The practice is a shot of Fireball and typically a Hendrix and tonic.
Oh, I love that.
Wow. Okay.
I on the way to the gig, if when I know what music I'm doing, I'll listen to it like once or twice and then kind of plan out like, do I want to do this here? Like I know what venue I'll be at, what's the crowd going to be like? But it all depends on what the crowd does, to be quite honest. Because if it's too full in there, you can't really dance too much. So you kind of have to scale it back. But there may be some things where I want to do a split in this. I'll do it right here. But other than that, there's no planning typically involved. Unless it's a pageant, then I kind of, I rehearse like my numbers and rehearse everything to be precise.
So I feel like I started seeing and hearing a lot about you probably within the last year or so. Mm-hmm. So what was your breakthrough moment as far as like what made you decide to like, I'm going to put myself out there, put myself in the limelight? Like, did anything happen or did you decide to just go for it or
COVID
what happened?
I never did drag. I just hit my 3-year drag, my mark. It'll be this month. That's my 3-year mark of doing drag.
Oh, okay.
I was on a contract with a theater company. I've always performed, toured, traveled, like everything. But COVID hit and shut everything performance-wise down.
Okay.
And I was living an hour and a half south of here. And at the time, my sister lived here and my husband lived here. And they're both like, move to Tampa. So I was like, sure. Moved here and I'm still here. And I wasn't performing. And I was like, I have to do something creative. I have to. And we're going to drag shows and I love drag. And I was like, you know what? I think I could probably do that. I was like, I've worn heels in shows before. I've put on wigs before. I've done makeup. And so I was like, let me just try it. And I went to one amateur talent night, won it. And I was like, oh, I could do something with this. And, and it sort of just took off. And like it boosted my confidence in a way of saying like, everything that drag is, I have in my toolbox, like my actor toolbox. And I love doing both of these things. So why not kind of mesh the two worlds together?
Yeah, it's great when you're able to do something you're really passionate about.
Yeah.
Because it really, really shows up. Mm-hmm. So we're in the choir together, the Gay Men's Tampa Bay Choir.
Yes.
And you direct the choreography. Mm-hmm. And I love watching you do the direction for the choir because your passion just comes through.
Thank you.
So yeah, you have that light, you have that passion, and then you have me trying to learn all of those steps.
Well, you're doing great. I'm proud of you.
I was going to say, is that a challenge trying to work with David on choreography? Because I feel like it would be.
I have 2 left feet and 2 right arms.
And it's a challenge in general sometimes, but it's a challenge that I always accept because I love a challenge.
Okay.
But for 60 gay men, which is crazy, putting 60 gay men in a room, and not just gay men, artistic gay men, in one room together, that's the challenge in itself.
Right.
Yeah. But, usually everyone has an opinion.
Usually is an understatement, but
yes. So I try to attend every single performance that I can, and I support that organization so much because I love it so much, and it's always fun to go to the performances. But my question, so here's a real serious question. So between us girls, how long does it take for you to get ready? And the reason why I ask this is because my husband always says, you take forever to get ready. I'm like, yes, honey, it takes a village. Like you just don't roll out of bed and look fabulous. Like it takes some time. You have skincare. You've got all this stuff going on. So how long does it really take you to get ready? Like Veronica to be Veronica.
Veronica to be like, to walk out the door, ready to go, I would say 2 hours. Okay. It used to take me 3. My husband will disagree. He'll probably say 4, but he's incorrect. I like to always get ready at my house. I like to be in a controlled environment because if I'm at a club getting ready in the dressing room, you have people coming in and out, and music. And if I get distracted, I'm like, I get behind. And, with the nails, the wig, the padding, I'm like, I want to be like ready to go. So I always do my makeup and body at home so I can walk into the club and kind of kiki and hang out. But it takes about 2 hours, like start to finish. That's with makeup, with hair, with lashes, with everything. And I usually wear contacts, but I had a contact issue today, so you're getting glasses. I'm very studious. You're welcome. Giving you a sexy librarian. Marion the librarian is here. Yes. But 2 hours because you're right. You have the skincare. Like your face is your base, so your skin has to be right. Then you have to make sure that everything else on top of it is laying correctly. And then if it's not, I have to fix it because I'm a perfectionist and I can't just go out there half-assing it.
And that's something you and I both have in common because as I was reading up on you in the form that you filled out for the show, I noticed that you mentioned you were a perfectionist, and I am the exact same way. And sometimes I think being a perfectionist can be a hindrance because you beat yourself up if you don't do something 100% correctly. And I'm very guilty of that. Like I will beat myself up constantly about not being perfect. And I think that stems from, my relationship, for me, my relationship with my father and being told, I was never going to be good enough. I was an embarrassment. I was this, I was that. That verbal stuff gets stuck in your head. And so you feel like I've got to prove him wrong. So therefore, I'm going to be perfect in everything that I do so I can show him. Like, is it that way for you too? Do you beat yourself up when you're?
Oh, 1,000%. I do. That's my most common trait of it's just beating myself up. And it's not always necessarily in the way of like, it's negative, but it's in the sense of I want to be better than I was last time. Last time I was at this venue, I did these numbers and I gave them this performance. If these people are back again, I don't want them to get the same type of show. I want them to see a better show because I know when I go out, if I see the same sort of stuff over and over again, I get bored, I get tired. I'm not going to keep coming out. And for any great artist, that's kind of the brilliance is you get a beautifully crafted show with layers, but it's always just a little bit better than it was last time. But I think that hardness on ourselves is kind of a common gay trait, for families who don't always accept you.
Right.
Because we don't fit into the mold that people have created or wanted us to fit into. So we're always kind of like, well, how can I shift my perspective to be what they want, but also like be better for myself,
Yeah. Yeah. Are you that way as well?
Well,
like, are
I'm
you
sitting
a
here
perfectionist?
quietly thinking, can I have 10% of that?
Oh,
you can have all of it.
Yeah, you can have all of it because it's really difficult. I mean, it's a difficult
It's not fun
thing.
sometimes.
It's not fun for sure. And, to your point, my father always wanted me to be the athlete, the all man's man type
And
person. And I was the brainiac. Like I was the straight A, guy, was not interested in athletics at all.
Yeah.
And
my
I'm still
dad
not.
would try to help make me change the oil in the van. And I'd be like, Dad, I'm
Proud
so
of you.
sorry, but I can't do this.
My dad tried to do that too. And
He
I
tried
was
to
like,
take me
no.
fishing. I'm like, no.
Listen, I am the youngest of three, the run to the litter, the tallest by far and the most beautiful, my sister. She's welcome. But my whole family played sports. We all went to the same high school. My dad played football his entire life, went to college on a full ride for football until he tore his ACL. Like was going pro, tore his ACL. So of course he has to live his dreams through his children. My brother played football since he could walk. My sister played basketball since she could walk. My mother ran track. So when I went to the high school, first day I went to the high school in Pensacola, Florida, Washington High School. Basketball coach who I've known my entire life threw a basketball at my face and was like, "You coming to tryouts?" And I said, "I have drama practice after school." And it's just like, for what? Like, what am I trying out for? But I played sports my entire life up until sophomore year. I was doing sports and theater. And, kind of when you get in high school, you have to kind of decide where you're allotting your attention.
True, yeah.
And so I was like, my parents were like, what are you going to do? Are you going to do sports? Because I was literally on varsity basketball, went to state for wrestling my freshman year, but I was also doing theater. And I was like, this is cute, but like, this is more fun. And so I eventually like put all my eggs in theater, right in that basket. I was like, sorry, but this is where my heart is,
Yeah, it's so funny because my dad, when I was younger, took me to a professional football game, and I literally did my homework the whole time we were there.
Showing zero interest.
Yeah, I had absolutely no interest. And even when we go to when we support the events like Pride Night at the Rays, like after the third inning, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I want to go.
I love seeing sporting events with cute men.
Yeah, always. I enjoy watching sports. I love the drinking of the beer. I love the social aspect of it. And sometimes it's fun too.
Yeah.
But my parents, we lived in Pensacola, Florida growing up, which is 3 hours from Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Our family's team are the Seminoles, FSU. We used to go to almost all their home games. And I'll never forget, like much like you said, you were doing your homework the whole time. I remember being a kid watching the cheerleaders, being like, oh my God, that is so cool. Like, I want to do that. And my dad looked at me and goes, what are you watching? And I was like, And I remember him being like, the game's over here, son. And I was like, yeah, of course.
You know what I used to love is the flag corps. Do you remember the flag corps?
Yes.
With the marching bands?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I
Color
would always
guard.
be fascinated by color guard flag corps, yeah.
With like the beautiful colors and the dancing. And I'm like, I could do that,
Yeah, it always looked like so much fun.
Next thing I know.
Do you remember the color guard or the flag
No,
corps?
I do remember the color guard,
Okay.
but my high school was so small we didn't have that.
Okay.
So
My sisters actually would practice their flag in the driveway at our house, and I would be jealous.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, I wish I could do that.
Where'd you go to high school?
So I'm from a small, like I said this on the first episode too. I'm from a small town in Illinois, like population 5,000.
Oh, wow.
And I always joke that if you're late to school, it's because you got stuck behind a tractor on your way to school. And my parents, my father was an auto mechanic and my mom was a police officer actually for the city and was a police officer for 32 years. And she was the only, and still is the only female police officer that city has ever had. So, I have shot a gun.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Because, you have a cop in the family. At some point, there's going to be target practice going on. So, when I was young, I was, shooting a gun, and so on and so forth. But I decided, like, my journey was, and I've mentioned this before, but at the age of 30, I decided, okay, I'm not meant to be in a small town. Like, this is not where I'm meant to be. So I packed everything up, no job, no place to live, no plan, went to Atlanta right after the Olympics had been over. So it was like 1996.
Yeah.
And lived there for 14 years.
Wow.
So I just took the leap of faith and I was like, okay.
Good for you.
It's all about that leap of faith again, getting out of your comfort zone, taking that leap. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's my background. I'm a small town boy.
Small town boy.
Yeah, that wanted to live in the big city. So
and here you are.
And here I
welcome
am.
to Tampa. Welcome.
Now I do want to go back to Paul's question to you about getting ready. How long does it take? And again, kind of like nothing's off limits here.
Yeah.
So we really want to take a look under the hood, and we really want to know.
Just take this off.
First of all. Do you have a drag mother? Like, how does that work? Are you in a house or?
Okay, so I actually have no drag family.
Okay.
It's very typical, not very typical, the way that drag queens start out, they usually start out as a baby queen.
Okay.
Like the runt of the litter, just like slapping on a little makeup, maybe not looking the best. We call them boogers, they're called booger queens,
Oh, that's so interesting. And, crazy. But.
Little booger queen. And sometimes they run into like people who like start helping them, like, girl, like, take that lip off, put this lip on, girl. Take that costume off. What are you doing? And then they end up becoming like a drag mother. Like they keep going to that person for like advice. I just started drag on my own and kind of started running with it. So I actually don't have a family, which is kind of rare.
So when you think about like getting ready with the padding and let's just say the tucking component, did you go on YouTube or like how did you just figure it out on your own?
It was a trial and error on my own for quite some time.
Okay.
And I started out with duct tape. Like I was doing it the most painful way possible. Because in my mind, I'm like, it has to look smooth. It has to be like a Barbie. Like it has to be like
a Barbie.
Literally, like it has to be like because you don't want a meaty tuck. Like if it's meaty, you're like, what's down there? What's going on down there?
Right.
I want to look like a Barbie doll, so like it feels the illusion. And I was literally just like slapping duct tape from the front, pulling everything to the back, and like not being able to sit, and like it burning, and then. Found a different different method of tucking, and I was like, "Oh, this is nicer." Now I'm like in like what's called tucking panties, which is like what you wear. Like you slip it on, you pull everything, and it just gathers it and smooths it out. So it's quite perfect.
Okay. So trial and error.
A lot of trial and error
over the years.
A lot of pain. A lot of pain.
Yeah, because I know when you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, they always, are talking about like the house they're in.
Yeah.
They learn from their drag mother. So I just didn't know. Now in Tampa area, are there drag houses?
Oh, there are tons of drag houses.
Oh, there is.
Tons of drag families everywhere.
Okay.
And I like to think of my drag family as being like a chosen family, like my best friends, my sisters. I have like a couple people that are like my go-to girls that like I talk to almost every day, all day.
Oh, okay.
And those are the ones that we kind of keep each other in line. Like, girl, like. You look good, girl, but don't wear that wig again, And with my sister, she is very much like, girl, throw that wig in the trash can. When she comes over, she's like, we're going to put this away. We're not going to wear this anymore. And I'm like, okay.
Well, I don't profess to know, but wig maintenance can really be time-consuming, right?
It is. It can be. When done correctly, as it should be, like you clean your lace, you have to like restyle the wigs just to keep everything nice and coiffed. But that's sort of the fun for it, And I had the luxury of kind of knowing how to do that from theater. Because I was a wardrobe supervisor for a couple of theater companies for so long. So I had to like do the maintenance for wigs or learn how to like do different roller sets for wigs to keep things like fresh for a 3-month run of a show,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, tell us about what's coming up for you. What are you working on now?
Coming up for me, I have a couple big shows. I'm the show director for the Hard Rock Drag Brunches. My next one is on June 29th. And those shows seat over 300 people and they sell out so fast.
Wow.
So fast.
How far in advance do you need to get the tickets?
We release tickets about a month and a half in advance.
Okay.
A month and a half to 2 months in advance. And within like a month, they're usually gone.
Wow.
And then I have Hunks and Heels, which is an event that I do every single year. It's a big charity fundraiser down in Inglewood, Florida. This will be the 4th year that it's happening. This is the 4th year I've been involved with it. And it's a family called the Stevens family. They actually taught the daughter, Juliana, and the son, Spencer, when I taught high school, which is crazy. But I taught theater, and Spencer died in a tragic car accident several years ago.
Okay.
And he was a young gay man, very religious. And this small, very, very, very Republican town rallied around this family. And this family just opened everyone's eyes and their hearts to, the life of like LGBTQ plus people, which has never been seen or heard of in this little city. It is like the most red area.
Wow.
Like when I was teaching there, it's like terrifying to be a black man just driving down the street at nighttime. Like if I get pulled over, I'm like, may I make it home tonight,
Right.
Like when Trump was first running for office, they had cardboard cutouts of him on the street corners.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like that bad. Mm-hmm. And this family started a grief project called Spread Spencer Sparkle because he was such a wonderful human. And they have a big charity fundraiser every year. And last year, I think we raised $40,000 in one night.
That's amazing.
And they buy new band uniforms. They send all the kids to like project graduation. They send all the kids to prom. They do everything for not just LGBTQ plus students, but like regular students as well. Okay. Just supporting families, supporting local businesses, just giving back to the community that gave to them when they needed it the most.
That is amazing. And so the Hunks and Heels, what is it, like a race with really hunky guys in heels, or what happens?
It is a contest. It's like local businessmen, and it's 99.9% always straight men. It's like a big gala. It's a contest. So these men put on a pair of heels and they lip sync to a full song. They don't,
oh my God, that's great.
They can be in or out of drag, which is crazy for this area because it's very red. And they are whole hog here for it. And so the last 3 years, these men have been halfway in drag, in heels, lip syncing to songs, and it's been sold out every year with over 200 seats, like a full plated dinner. And then at the end, I do a massive performance. I'm kind of there throughout the night, welcoming people, greeting people, helping to raise money. There's tons of silent auctions, but it's a contest. And at the end, we vote. There's a panel of judges. We vote on one winner, and it's an amazing event. And it's July 26th this year. It's a Saturday. If you guys are available, I'll send you information.
I feel like I definitely need to be there.
It is.
I feel like the Skittle Squad
awesome.
definitely needs to represent at that event.
It is a roaring good time. There's always a theme. People dress up, and there's like a line out the door for seats.
Wow. And then you can get tickets online.
Yeah, you can get tickets online.
Great. So if you had to just throw out to our audience maybe like one final takeaway, like what would you want to people to know or to think about, to take away from our time together today?
It is never too old or too late to be who or what you want to be. Ever, ever, ever. If you want to do it, go for it. There's nothing stopping you. People say no. No's are temporary. No's are only for a short amount of time. There's always a way to get to your yes.
Oh, wow. I love that. It really, anyway, I will just say yes. Love it, love it, love it. And then folks can reach you on socials at...
Yeah, social media at Miss Veronica Foxx on Instagram and Facebook. And I now have a YouTube channel where I'm posting my videos, just to get a little
that's awesome.
some more view action,
Yeah, that's great.
I have
Yeah.
to subscribe to that for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone should definitely subscribe. Any other final thoughts from you, Paul?
I don't think so. I mean, I didn't know you very well. Obviously, I'd seen you perform, but I don't know you as well as what David did. But I'm definitely impressed with how you carry yourself and everything that you've accomplished.
I appreciate that.
So, and you'll definitely be seeing me at more of your shows because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think other than that, I think we can wrap it up for this episode and just remind people that, again, if you want to be a guest on the Skittle Squad podcast, you can reach us at contact@theskittlesquad.com.
And follow us on our socials,
And
which
follow
is
us
at
on
the
all of
Skittle
our
Squad
socials.
Podcast.
And if you're interested in advertising or being a sponsor of the show, again, you can reach us at that same email address. So we're definitely here. We're not going anywhere. We've got a lot of great guests coming up, and we're going to keep on raising the positivity.
Yeah, thank you for being on. We are so excited to see what the future brings for you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.